quick Servideo. I'm the president of the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. I would like to welcome everyone here to our 28th annual induction ceremony. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we begin tonight's program, on behalf of the entire Athletic Hall of Fame committee members, I'd like to publicly thank the Lyndhurst Board of Education, school administration for their continued support of our organization. I'd also like to welcome our mayor, Mr. Robert J. Rizzo, Commissioner Tom DiMaggio, we have freeholder Mr. Steve Tonelli here from North Arlington, who would like to give proclamations to each of the inductees. Steve? I'd like to welcome and introduce the principal of Lyndhurst High School, Mrs. Shauna DeMarco. Vice Principal, Mr. Frank Venezia. We also have in the audience tonight another administrator of elementary school, Mr. Joseph Bastola. I'll hold off on that one for a little later. At this time, I'd now like to introduce many of our former Lyndhurst High School inductees who are gracious to be here with us this evening. I'd like for them to please stand and be recognized. Mark Bautis. Bobby Giankowski. Anthony Francina. Jim Francina. Donnie Putzloff, Jr. Ralph Lalore. Dennis McSweeney. Tom DiMaggio. James Chizivuno. Linda Voza Grippo. Arnie Perrone. James Butchie LaRusso. David Lavelli. Jeff Somma. Rafe Marino. Terry Shoebridge. Bobby Mulheisen. Joe Budd. Bill Hughes. And Ron Settembrino. It's just great to have everybody come back. It's wonderful to bring you up back here and help us present this evening. At this time, I'd next like to introduce our committee members. One of Lyndhurst High School's most outstanding wrestlers is presently the treasurer of our organization, Mr. Michael DeMarco. Michael was a 1993 inductee into the Lyndhurst High School Hall of Fame. Probably the best golfer in Lyndhurst High School history, presently the secretary of our organization, a 2002 inductee, Chris Ferrara. A former Lyndhurst High School track standout and coach, previously Lyndhurst High School guidance supervisor, a 1988 inductee, Steve Picciano. A former outstanding football and track athlete at Lyndhurst High School, was an assistant football and basketball coach, presently our boys' head track coach, a position he's held for 30 plus years, Tom Shoebridge. Former Lyndhurst High School teacher and soccer, basketball, and softball coach, a 2011 inductee, Lori DeLuca. Fantastic Lyndhurst High School baseball player in the 1970s, a 2008 inductee, Dennis Astrella. Arguably the best female girls soccer player in Lyndhurst High School history, presently our head girls soccer coach and our head girls track coach, Kimberly Hykey. Former Lyndhurst High School athlete and former volleyball, bowling, and baseball coach at Lyndhurst High School, presently a principal of one of our elementary schools, Michael Rizzo. Former Lyndhurst High School athlete, basketball and baseball coach, presently supervisor of athletics, physical education, and social studies at Lyndhurst High School, Jeff Radigan. Also, former Lyndhurst High School athlete, basketball coach, and presently our head baseball and assistant football coach, Patrick Autieri. An outstanding track athlete at Lyndhurst High School, former teacher, athletic director, and principal of Kearney High School, a 2002 inductee, Al Somma. My mistake, I forgot one inductee who's here. I would like for him to stand up. Mr. Mickey Matalone. On each table, you'll find a flyer about a construction project entitled the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame Park. This project has been an idea of ours for over 8 years. We've raised a good portion of the needed funds for this project by selling bricks, holding raffles, and putting together mini golf outings. Finally, due mainly in part to newly elected Board of Education member James Chizibuno, this project will finally break ground. We urge all Lyndhurst High School alumni, family, and friends to support the construction project. Please see Chizzy, who's located at table number 7 for further information, or contact Jeff Radigan at the high school. It is with a sense of pride and satisfaction, perhaps a sense of nostalgia, camaraderie, dedication, and commitment, that I, on behalf of the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame Selection Committee, welcome you to the 28th Induction Ceremony. This evening, we will induct 8 former Lyndhurst High School athletes and 1 coach contributor who have distinguished themselves on our athletic fields of glory. The quality of their contribution and the participation and the level of their performance in Lyndhurst High School sports merits this special recognition. In addition, we will also honor several legendary teams of Lyndhurst High School past 36 years ago, on May 11th, 1979, a dream became a reality. The Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame, the first school in Bergen County to establish such an organization, inducted the Golden Dozen, considered at that time to be the 12 most outstanding athletes, coaches, and contributors ever to participate in our cherished athletic program. Our debt of gratitude is due to the original selection committee members whose vision, creativity, enthusiasm, and leadership have made all of this possible. Since the selection of the Golden Dozen, our committee has conducted these ceremonies in accordance with the theme, Men and Women of the Decades, inducting, as a general rule, one athlete per decade, commencing with the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and now the 2000s. We have met with great success utilizing this decade method of selection. This process ensures the continuation of our organization, the maintenance of the highest standards and quality criteria selection, and it also promotes a meaningful and dignified induction ceremony. Please be sure to review our program journal. It promises to stimulate the memories generated by the achievement of the immortals of Lyndhurst High School sports. The following passage will hopefully illustrate the type of people we honor by induction into our organization. In athletic competition, true athletes concentrate on pitting their skills and intelligence and strength against an opponent who is equally as anxious and ready to win. In competition, leaders inevitably emerge. On every team, there is that player who gives the extra effort, outwits the opposition, who supports his teammates and gives them the courage and faith to carry on when all looks dark and hopeless, who is always ready to do what is required and more, who accepts the blame or the credit with equal grace and dignity. This is the true athlete, the one who is admired because she has achieved the integration of mind and body that is the model for all players, because she is not only a fine athlete, but an outstanding human being as well. Such are the people we recognize this evening. This is the honor we bestow upon our guests. This is the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. In closing, we respectfully and enthusiastically welcome the 2015 inductees, our honored guests, their families and friends, also the members of the legendary teams we honor tonight. We urge your support to join us in continuing this worthwhile organization whose members are dedicated to motivating today's young people to increase their participation in wholesome extracurricular activities as they strive to attain the maximum potential that exists in each of them. Finally, we express our unending gratitude to our financial contributors and boosters, and to all involved in making this evening a huge success. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Steve Picciano, who will give the invocation.
Strong and faithful God, you have made us in your image and your likeness. You have made us body, mind, spirit, so that we may love and serve you and one another. Now we ask in your kindness that you bless all who are gathered here this evening as we come in friendship and fellowship, honor our teammates, men and women of the decades, some here tonight and some already with you. Thank you for the blessings of individual and collective God-given gifts, which have been nurtured to enable them to achieve outstanding athletic accomplishments. Thank you for enabling our honorees to use these gifts and accomplishments as a catalyst for the good that they do. May we continue to be grateful for all who helped us to achieve: parents, coaches, teachers, mentors, teammates, and classmates. Place in our hearts the desire to make a difference to our families, our community, our country. to the many cultures and peoples worldwide. Give us balance in times of distraction and uncertainty, and help us move towards our goals with determination, and always with an abundant sense of humor. Thank you for food in a world where many know only hunger, for our faith in a world where many know fear, for friends in a world where many know only loneliness. Please bless this meal we're about to share, those who prepared it, those who serve it, and those who have worked to make today the special occasion that it is. May we be strengthened in dedication to you and take care of one another, especially the most needy. Amen.
All right, before dinner, we would like to honor some of those legendary Lyndhurst High School teams. So I'd like to call up committee member Chris Ferrara, who will speak on behalf of those championship teams we have yet to honor during the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Chris?
Thank you. Welcome everyone, and congratulations to all the inductees. This will be a great night you won't soon forget. So at this time, we would like to honor the following championship teams. First, the 1931 football team. What, were you the AD back then? That was Lyndhurst High School's first ever championship team, a 7-2 record, coached by Hall of Famer Edwin Olson and captained by Hall of Famer Mike DeRensis. 1948 football, Group 2 state champs, a record of 7-1-1. Hall of Famers on this team included Joe Cania, Adam Zarnecki, Vince Carini, Coop Monacera, Nick Servideo, and Willie Monaco. 1949, Lyndhurst High School's first indoor track team, coached by Hall of Famer Ed Zack, and led by Hall of Famers Coop Monacera and Eugene Parker. 1950 football state champs with an 8-1 record, only loss was to a Group 4 Ridgewood. Golden Bears were led by Golden Dozen Hall of Famer Harry Buddy Osinga and teammate Adam Jankowski. 1951 football. For the 4th consecutive year, the Golden Bears won a state championship with an 8-1 record, guided by Hall of Fame coach Zach, Liberia, and Gash. His team included Hall of Famers Bobby Walsh and Jimmy Nazaire. 1954 football state champs with a 7-1 record, led by Hall of Famer George Tex Wertz. 1956 baseball team, a 13-1 record, best record in school history to date. First baseball team to earn Group 2 state honors, led by Hall of Famers Carl Stopperlin and Ed Burke. 1958-1959 football Group 3 state championship, records of 6-2 and 7-1 respectively, guided by future Hall of Fame coaches Joe Sapola and Frank Ruggiero under the direction of Coach Zach. Teams included Hall of Famers Matt Tamaro, Billy Monacera, Mickey Matalone, Billy Olkowski, and Wally Pagan. My cousins James and Anthony Franchina, Gordon Hughes, and Golden Dozen member Tommy Longo. Additional team members included Mike Zielinski, Joe Ferruzza, Dan DeSimone. We invite any members of the teams that just mentioned to stand up and please be recognized.
I'd next like to bring up committee member Michael Rizzo, who will tell you about the 1984 championship baseball team. Michael?
The next team being honored by the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame tonight is the 1984 baseball team, which was coached by Lou Tallarico, head coach, and assistant coach Dennis Sluker. The 84 baseball team finished the season with a record of 20 wins, 6 losses, and a tie. After opening the season with a tie against Richfield Park, and then losing 3 out of 4 games very early in the season, the team went on to win 15 out of 17 games. During that run, they won 4 straight games in the state playoffs, including a 6-2 victory over Rutherford, en route to winning the North 1 Group 2 State Sectional Championship. After defeating Milburn in the Group 2 semifinal, the magical run came to an end with a loss to Pennsville in the Group 2 championship game. The team finished the season ranked in the top 4 in Bergen County in both the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. 8 of the 9 starters on the 84 baseball team hit over 300. The team was led by first-team All-County outfielder Franco Cunyac, who led the team in average, home runs, and RBIs, and by first-team All-County catcher Sean Carroll. Second-team All-County second baseman Alan Mustando led the team in runs and stolen bases. 3 of those players and John Osceola all hit over 400. On the mound, the team was led by third-team All-County pitcher Wayne Cantor, as well as Ron Lubitazzo. The 2 pitchers combined for a 13-4 record on the season and an ERA under 2. This team joined a long line of outstanding Lyndhurst High School baseball teams. Other members of the 84 baseball team include, and many are with us tonight, Joe Carnival, Gary Clare, Anthony Cornicaccia, John Du Bois, Mark Kisak, Dennis Mazza, Robert Scoleri, Paul Stefanski, James Jankowski, Scott Mahoney, Joe Persheria, and manager Frank Lipinski. At this time, it is an honor to acknowledge the 1984 baseball team by the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Will all those team members please stand to be recognized? Just one quick note for all the legendary teams being honored tonight. During dinner, we'll be calling you to the rear of the restaurant to take a team picture, and you will all be presented with certificates. Thank you again.
Last, I'd like to call up committee member Jeff Radigan, who will talk about the 1998-99 championship wrestling team.
The 1998-99 wrestling team completed one of the most decorated wrestling seasons in school history. The team was coached by Scott Weaver and assistant coach Don Pritzlaff, and assistant coach Darius Hughes, and finished with a 16-1 by outscoring opponents 973 points to a measly 292 points. In wrestling, that's an average of 57 to 17 every match. Their dominance earned them their second consecutive BCSL National Division Championship. The team then marched on to the district, winning District 15 Championship, where 4 wrestlers, Adam Sika, Dennis McSweeney, Luke Sika, and Anthony Servideo, were District 15 champions, while another 7 wrestlers, Mike Schifano, Frank Scaglione, David Sika, Cesar De La Cruz, Anthony Solito, and Tim Tobiasen also medaled, which meant 11 of the wrestlers advanced on to the regional tournament. At the regional tournament, 2 of the wrestlers, Adam Sika and Dennis McSweeney, won the Region 4 championship. Other members of the team were Ovis Sipsabasi, Al Perdomo, Anthony Permarano, Severio Minervini, Vincent Fucilli, Nick Catnese, Mike Scaglione, Rich Tuero, Javon Coria, and Joshua Sarnowski. As you can see, this was a true team balanced from top to bottom. At this point, it's an honor to acknowledge the 1998-99 wrestling team. Will all those members in attendance tonight please stand up to please be recognized.
Just a quick announcement from Coach Pritzloff Sr. When the wrestlers go to take their pictures in the back, when they're called upon to take their picture, he would like to have all Lyndhurst High School former wrestlers also go back to take another additional picture. You don't want to upset Coach Pritzlow, so make sure that you get there. Wrestlers and coaches, correct. Okay, that concludes the beginning of our program. Our inductions will commence after dinner. Enjoy your dinner, people. Can I have your attention, please? I'd like to start the second half of our program. Okay. Thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoyed their meal. This is the formal
but I don't remember
segment of our program where we will be inducting
many years ago. Oh my
individuals.
God, just fine. Oh my God, you're a beautiful young woman now. Oh my God.
Can I have your attention, please? Can you stop talking? Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Our first presenter for this evening, I'd like to call up once again Mr. Steve Picciano.
You're the Newman.
I'm the Newman, yeah. This was always my job forever and ever before me. I gave him the job.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to induct our newest member of the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. He attended Lyndhurst High School from 1961 to 1965. He is a member of the graduating class of 1965. 1964 and 1965 were extremely interesting years in the history of the United States, the state, and wherever we went. They were the best of times, especially in Lyndhurst, because in Lyndhurst, like so many of us, our inductee learned how to compete and develop his athletic skills in the neighborhood choose-up games, as he would say, having fun and making lifelong friends. There's many of us in the room that remember those games and probably a lot that don't. Seems like a dying breed, but hopefully it'll be restored one time. Some of these contests, whether football, basketball, or baseball, were more competitive than some organized sports. It was certainly the best of times. Hot dogs at 3 acres, shakes at King Kong. The Beatles needed no help invading the United States. The World's Fair came to New York. The '64 Mustang arrived, and the Beach Boys got around. It was also the worst of times, with riots in our major cities and the Vietnam War, as we were so well aware of, was taking the lives of so many of our great young men. But there was a place in our town that served as an oasis from this turmoil. It was the Lyndhurst High School gymnasium and the football field. The sign proudly boasted, and it's going to be restored, the Roaring Golden Bear saying the home of champions. The place created a unity of purpose, reduced pride and respect among all of us in a tight-knit community. This is where our newest Hall of Famer was a champion, and in the words of the Shangri-Las, was the best basketball team's leader of the pack. Although he was a dominating basketball player, he also played football, ran track, he earned 8 varsity letters while competing in the toughest conference in the tri-state area, the State Valley Conference. As it was called, the PVC was the home of so many players who not only went on to play Division I sports at top schools in the nation, but also went on to professional or all-pro athletic endeavors. When you made an all-PVC team, whether first team or honorable mention, you were certainly one of the best around. On the football field, our Hall of Famer, who went on to play collegiate at Adams State College, was a big, strong, athletic receiver who was able to go up in a crowd of defensive players and pull in so many passes from another Hall of Famer, Billy Rosinski, from the same class of 1965. In 1963, while playing in a predominantly rushing-type offense, he broke the single-season reception record with 24 catches while amassing 300 yards. This record was previously held by another Hall of Famer, Bill Monacero. He broke the single-game reception record with 7 catches against arch-rival East Rutherford in the annual Thanksgiving Day game. He was named second-team All-PBC in 1964. In his senior year, he helped Lyndhurst recover from a previous down year to a strong, impressive 6-3 record in the PBC. The highlight of the season for him and his teammates and fellow Hall of Famers, Brzezinski, Jim Chizibuno, and Jimmy Russo, was being the first Lyndhurst team ever, a small Group 2 school, to beat a huge Group 4 powerhouse, Clifton. Final score, 12-6, Lyndhurst. Not only did they beat them, and it was a memorable game, it went on to be a catalyst because after that, 3 consecutive years later, it ended up being a 4-year streak that we beat Clifton. We gained tremendous respect because of athletes like our Hall of Famer and the guys in that team. Perhaps that shows you how tough those pickup games were in those neighborhood choose-up games. Our inductee also participated in track and field. His coach, Don Cavalli, described him as a 50-foot shot putter, 1 year out there, and a pretty darn good discus thrower. A strong comment endorsement coming from Cavalli, who himself was a state champion. But it was in basketball where this humble, conscientious man dominated and excelled. Fellow Hall of Famer Ron Kist, who assisted me in researching the information about our inductees, stated, Roger worked hard and used his size and skill to become one of the greatest basketball players in Lyndhurst High School history. Ronnie went on to state that he was a great offensive player who played both ends of the court with passion and determination, and he was the best offensive rebounder ever. The great UCLA basketball coach John Wooden once said, there is little difference in technical aspects of the game, but a vast difference in leaders' ability to motivate and inspire others. Roger's ability to motivate and inspire was truly exhibited in his senior year as captain of the team. When 3 of his starters were removed from the team by Coach Buck Brown, Roger put the team on his back and played and motivated and inspired his team to win 7 out of their last 8 games in the PBC Conference. They finished the season at a strong 11-9 in that tough conference. He was the leader of the pack, certainly, and he made those who around him played with him play better. True example of a winning athlete. Some of its highlights include breaking the single-season freshman scoring record with 215 points, previously held by another Hall of Famer, a Golden Dozen Hall of Famer, Tom Longo. He was voted All-PBC Honorable Mention in 1964, All-Bergen County 14 in 1964. And it may not sound that impressive, 14. The first team now, they picked 10 or 11 guys. Back then it was 5 guys for first team, 5 guys for second team. So that's a really tough thing to do when a county be placed All-County. He tied the single-game scoring record with 38 points against Clifton in a 72-67 victory. The record was previously held by beloved Hall of Famer Richie Pizzola and since broken by Hall of Famers Ron Kist and George Barutis. In 1965, he was voted, and this may explain how competitive the PBC was. He was second team All-PBC, while scoring 325 points and averaging 23.5 points per game, second team. His field of players that he played against and played with were Ron Kist of Lyndhurst, Russ Glaus of Clifton, Roland Moss of Passaic, Jim Westham of East Patterson, and John Price of Patterson Eastside. All these guys were great players at the time, all county and all state players. They all played in the PBC with him. Roger was selected by the New York Daily News as second team All-Bergen and Passaic County in 1965, as he scored 357 points, averaging 20 points a game. He ranked 10th among the top 20 scorers in both Passaic and Bergen County, and continued to be a dominant player throughout his career. Great leadership characteristics developed with the guidance of his parents and coaches have led him to be a successful career as one of the nation's top salespersons of a specific cardio-medical equipment. Roger continues to lead, inspire, and motivate as a father, a grandfather, and a true professional. Roger is truly a deserving inductee and should be extremely proud of his accomplishments. But he shared his honest feelings with me on a phone call last week. He is most proud of the fact that his deceased father, Caesar Gadetti, is a member of the Golden Dozen Hall of Famers, the original 12 inductees. Roger is now the first sibling of a golden dozen Hall of Famer to be included with his dad. At this time, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to submit the name of Roger Gadetti for induction into the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
I don't remember doing all that. Honestly. And I should have used bigger font on this, these notes because I can't see this thing. There we go. All right. First of all, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for nominating and selecting me to be inducted into Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you. I feel very fortunate to be able to share this with so many of my family members and friends who are here with me tonight. As I look around the room, I see many former teammates and other athletes that played before me, but nonetheless, I know their names well. When I found out that I had been selected for induction, I started to think about what I was going to say when my turn came to stand up here in front of you. A little bit of a daunting task for me, given all the memories that began to flood my mind. And Steve hit on a lot of the things that I want to talk about tonight. The first thing I was drawn to were the experiences I had in my early childhood. Being raised in a household where my father's athletic prowess preceded him had a huge influence on me. You know, the kind of feeling of admiration and respect and wanting to fill his shoes and be like him. My father remained a source of admiration and inspiration for me until his untimely passing in 1964. I later had the privilege of accepting his induction into the Lyndhurst Hall of Fame, Golden Dozen, in 1979. His influence on me remains to this day. Known as Cy by his friends and Big Caesar by mine, he will live in my heart forever. Then there was my big brother Gary, who is here with me tonight, who was in his time a very good baseball player, much like our father was. It was because of him that names like Coot Monacera, Buddy Osinger, Billy Okowski, Tommy Longo, Chizzy Franchina, Billy Monacera, Alvy Bloom, Matty Tamara, Vinny Matraxi, Joe Tita, Mickey Matalone, Joe Ceferuzzi, and many others became household names and heroes to be emulated. I then started remembering the neighborhood that I grew up in. I lived in my father's apartment, my grandfather's apartment, near the corner of Ridge Road and New York Avenue. Very short distance from the Marones, the LaRussos, the Monaceras, the Zelinskis, the Shoebridges, the Gashones, and the LoPintos. Quite an impressive resume. Anyway, I remember playing baseball, football, and basketball on a regular basis with some of the members of the aforementioned families. We played baseball, stickball, and basketball on the Columbus School grounds and on the Peanut and River Road Little League fields, and occasionally on the big, for us, American League Babe Ruth field in River Road. You could actually do that thing. The only time we couldn't was when Fafi Deloy was lining the fields for upcoming games. At night we played PG or wiffle ball
under the streetlights on the corner of New York Avenue and Furman Place. We took time out only for the occasional passing car or one of the big town trucks coming by to spray the leaves with insecticide. I'm sure there's a lot of people here who remember that. There were also the natural surfaces of the Maroons' backyard, the vacant lot across from the LaRussos, the field next to Episcopia's garment factory, and the grass fields next to Columbus School where tackle football was played. What a childhood. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Time passed and we grew to teenagers, and the action turned to high school sports and the manicured football fields, baseball diamonds, and the hardwood floors of basketball gymnasiums. But there still was the allure of the asphalt fields of Columbus, Lincoln, and Roosevelt schools, where there continued the never-ending pursuit of bragging rights between the hill, the valley, and the hook. These days were for me a continuation of the magic of childhood, but a little more serious and competitive. What I remember most vividly about those days were the basketball games played on the Lincoln School asphalt courts. In my mind, those games were epic and larger than life, and included on a regular basis names like George Eckert, Anthony Rainey, John Rowe, Paul Scott, Leon Abo, Richie Pizzola, John Pirro, Ronnie Kist, the Maroons, Michael, Stephen, and Tom, Butchie LaRusso, Bobby Ferrandi, Donnie Frezzo, Billy Rosinski, Tommy DiMaggio, and Paul T. Arcascio. All lettering varsity athletes excelling at the high school level, and many of them in the Lyndhurst High School Hall of Fame, or will one day soon be there. The lessons learned and the friendships forged made us what we were then and who we are today. They also will remain in my heart forever. You may be thinking what all of this has to do with my eventual induction into the Lyndhurst Hall of Fame. But quite frankly, everything. Without these experiences and friendships, I would not be standing here in front of you. As I mentioned earlier, in 1979, my father, Caesar, was inducted into the Lyndhurst High School Hall of Fame, Golden Dozen, and I felt it an honor to accept on his behalf. Now for me, it has come full circle, and I feel it an honor and a privilege to take a place beside him once again. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call up committee member Al Somma.
I'd like to take this opportunity before I get started to congratulate all the individuals and the teams that are being honored and inducted at tonight's Hall of Fame meeting. As a first-year member of the committee, I'd like to thank the committee for allowing me the honor of presenting this next recipient, the class of '65, for induction into the Hall of Fame. I was fortunate to have known him during high school. He was a schoolmate, he was a friend, and a student athlete that was respected by his teammates, his coaches, and his opponents. He was a leader on and off the field. I had a lot of help putting this together, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Jimmy LaRusso and Ronnie Kist for getting me a lot of this information so I can talk about him and honor him tonight. He started his high school varsity baseball tenure when he was called up midway season by head coach Frank Ruggiero during his junior year. His .365 batting average, 3 home runs, and stellar play in the field provided the spark that propelled the team to a 15-7 record. And more importantly, the Group 3, Section 1 state championship during the '64 season. But the best was yet to come. During the '65 season, his senior year, he hit well over .350, and with his great lefty swing, his excellent defense, and team leadership, he was instrumental in bringing the team a Passaic Valley Conference Championship and Lyndhurst's first ever Bergen County Championship. And who can forget this? On that eventful day, playing against arch rival Rutherford, the next town over, who we love to beat, in the bottom of the 8th inning, Jimmy LaRusso hit his second double of the game with 1 out. And our recipient stepped up real calm to the plate and lined a single to center field, driving in Jimmy with the winning run. And bringing Lyndhurst its first ever county championship. That '65 team won its first 13 games at the beginning of the season and ended with a 20-win and 3-loss record. He was selected first team All-Bergen County and first team All-Passaic Valley Conference. He also played on the American Legion championship team that went out to the World Series, American League World Series, I believe it was South Dakota, and went to the finals of that tournament. Unfortunately, they came up a little short in the final, but was one of the greatest American Legion teams ever. I'd like to read something in the book that you all have at your tables. On July 12th, 1966, he enlisted in the Marines, but asked not to be called up until the American Legion baseball season was over. The Marine Corps agreed, and he reported for service on September 19, 1966. He went to Vietnam in 1967 and was wounded on March 16, 1967. But after 3 days in the hospital, he signed himself out so that he can be with his company. On July 2nd, 1967, he was killed near Con Thien when a mortar shell hit a helicopter in which he was helping to airlift wounded soldiers. He was 19 years old. He was awarded a Silver Star, a Bronze Star, 2 Purple Hearts, the National Defense Service Medal, the Republic of Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Combat Medal, and the Military Medal and Gallantry Cross with palms. On Memorial Day in 1968, Post 139 proudly announced renaming the Barringer Walker LoPinto with National Commander William E. Galbraith presiding at the ceremony. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to submit the name of Frank LoPinto for induction into the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Accepting the honor on his behalf is his sister Marilyn LoPinto Baziola.
On behalf of my beloved brother, Frank, I would like to thank this committee for honoring him this way. He would be so proud. He was a great brother, a great friend to men, and we loved him very much. Thank you.
Our next presenter that I'd like to call up is Dennis Astrella.
Thanks, Butch. This inductee was a two-sport student athlete while at Lyndhurst High School from 1971 through 1975, excelling in baseball and wrestling. He earned 6 varsity letters, 4 in baseball and 2 in wrestling. In 1972, his freshman year, this inductee was brought up to the varsity in the middle of the season to play center field for the Golden Bears. At that time, a freshman playing for the varsity was a rarity, but a hint of what was to come for this wonderful player and for the Golden Bears. His statistical accomplishments include baseball first team All-PVC 2 years, first team All-Bergen County, second team All-State Group 2. In 1974, he batted .387, stealing 16 of 17 bases and threw 3 runners out at home plate. As an infielder on this team, I witnessed the 3 runners being thrown out at home, and I remember the look at the coaches' faces as they looked out to the depth of the throw from center field and just shaking their heads, and I'm sure thinking, that's not supposed to happen at this level. But this inductee was clearly playing on a much higher level. In 1975, this inductee helped lead Lyndhurst to the Bergen County Championship and Group 2 Sectional State Championship, and ranked 12th in the state via the North Star Ledger poll. He clearly met the definition of what's called a 5-tool player in baseball. He could hit with power, run, throw, and field. As his teammates, we all knew that any ball hit in the air from left center field all the way over to right center field would be caught. And we watched him run down fly balls so many times over his 4 years playing center field for the Golden Bears. His grace and speed in the outfield was only matched by the cannon he had for an arm. As a teammate, his humor, easygoing personality, but tremendous desire to compete made him an absolutely great teammate as well as an outstanding athlete. And as one of his teammates in 1975, like so many times before for our team, I think it was very fitting that this inductee caught the final out of the Bergen County Championship game, giving the Golden Bears a 1-0 victory over Park Ridge and the Bergen County Championship. Following his great career at Lyndhurst High, this inductee gave back to the youth of Lyndhurst, acting as president of the Babe Ruth League and coaching in the league also. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to nominate John Detellis to the 2015 Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. As many of you know, John passed away in 2006, and his wife Karen will be accepting the award on his behalf.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the committee and everyone that was involved in selecting John to receive this award. I would also like to say thank you to our family and friends for their support and being here to celebrate John tonight. I know John would be so proud if he knew he was being placed in the Hall of Fame and to be recognized so highly for something they simply love to do, and that was to play baseball. God gifted John with two wonderful abilities in life. The first was being good at playing baseball. He loved the game, and his dream was one day to become a professional ball player. John was happiest when he had a baseball and a glove in his hand. I can remember watching him when he played baseball and just being amazed at his enjoyment and his speed running around the bases. He loved baseball so much that even without having children of our own, he volunteered his time coaching the kids on the Babe Ruth League, eventually becoming the president. John loved spending time with the kids and teaching them how to play the game. You could hear him yell, "Ana Kana Funa," a saying from the first students across the field when one of his boys hit the ball or got someone out, and all the players would laugh and have a good time. To this day, I could be walking and someone will say, "Mrs. D, Ana Kana Funa," and start laughing, and it will be one of the kids from John's team from many years ago. That makes me feel wonderful to know that John touched these boys' life in some way. The second gift was his voice. John loved to entertain people with his singing, especially when he was singing one of his favorite songs, Under the Boardwalk. His smile and his voice, when he would sing, could light up a room. John was a good man, a loyal friend, and a wonderful husband. He was so caring and loving and would help anyone in need. John lived his life to the fullest and was a strong believer in living every day as if it was supposed to be your last. What a great honor this is for him. Thank you.
Filming the whole thing? Yeah, got the whole thing.
And what a great honor it is to sit on the Hall of Fame committee that is inducting me. Our next inductee is a 1984 graduate of Lyndhurst High School. He earned 3 varsity letters in football, 2 varsity letters in track, and 4 varsity letters in golf. Our inductee's football career is capped off by an outstanding senior year. While playing tight end and defensive end, he was a major part of Lyndhurst High School's only 11-0 football team. The team won such honors as BCSL National and North 1 Group 2 champions. The team was also awarded the Group 1 and Group 2 Bergen County Team of the Year. 3 of his teammates are already inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I'm sure that many more will. On a team with such great athletes, our inductee was one of them. While playing tight end that season, he had 22 receptions for 618 yards, an average of 27.7 yards per catch. He scored 7 touchdowns. He also had 2 90-yard touchdown kickoff return runs. His awards included honorable mention All-Area Herald News, First Team All-South Bergenite, First Team All-BCSL National, and First Team All-Bergen County, a unanimous pick at tight end. A quote from his head coach, Mr. Arnold Perone. He had a great attitude and would do anything to help his team win. Coach also went on to say, he had great speed. Time after time, he turned a short reception into a very long game, if not a touchdown. His speed brings us to his track career. Being an assistant coach on the football team, I knew of his great speed. As head track coach, our track program was very blessed in his junior year when he decided to join. He helped our team reach an 11-1 record, a 2nd place BCSL National finish, a 3rd place finish in the County Group 2, and a 3rd place finish in the state sectional. He was a sprinter, and he scored over 127 points. In baseball terminology, that's like batting close to 500 for the season. Our inductee was a 2nd team All-League BCSL selection in the 100-meter dash. But what makes our inductee a very unique athlete is that during the spring season, he not only starred on the track, but he also was the leader of our golf team. It's hard enough to be an accomplished athlete in one sport, but he was in 2 sports during the same season. Earning 4 varsity letters in golf, our inductee shot a 46 and a 41 for an 87 at Rockley Golf Course. He finished 6th in the league and was voted 2nd team All-BCSL during the same season as his track career. Our inductee is a 1988 graduate of Rutgers University. He is married to his wife Robin, and they have 2 beautiful children, Stephen and Danielle. And Stephen is a receiver, of course, on their local high school football team. I asked our inductee, does your son have your speed? He says, yep, and he can catch too. He's the Director of Environmental Health, Safety, Security, for Global Foundries in Walter, New York. At this time, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to submit the name of James Fedorchak for induction into Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Jim could not be with us tonight, but accepting the award is his brother Jeffery.
Thank you, Coach Shoebridge. My brother obviously couldn't be here tonight due to prior engagement, so he asked me and Coach Shoebridge if I would accept the award for him. My brother would like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for selecting him for this honor, the football, track, and golf coaching staffs for all their hard work, especially Coach Perone, who graced us with his presence here tonight. The Lyndhurst Booster Club for their support, especially during the championship football season and all their hard work. All his teammates through the years, and finally, our family and friends, and my mom, who was nice enough to join us here tonight. Thank you again.
Next, I'd like to call up Michael DeMarco.
This next inductee distinguished himself in 4 sports and earned a total of 10 varsity letters. 4 in wrestling, 2 in track, 2 in football, and 2 in soccer. He most likely would have earned a total of 12 letters, but he chose to cut back on 2 sports in his junior and senior years. Freshman year, he competed in soccer, wrestling, and track. In wrestling, he finished 1st in the district and 3rd in the region, which earned him his first trip to the state tournament. I believe it was in Atlantic City at that point in time. Sophomore year, he again competed in soccer, wrestling, and track. In wrestling, he was a district and region champion and was selected to the first team all-county and first team all-area. Heading into his junior year, he was strongly encouraged by the soccer coach, Caparata, to put his fierce, competitive skills to better use on the football field, which he did, and earned a spot on the defensive line and was rewarded with second team all-league honors. I'm sure the football coaches were very happy that he made that move. In wrestling, he won the Bergen County Coaches Tournament in a very exciting finals match that went back and forth. For his efforts that day, he was awarded the most outstanding wrestler. And for those of you who don't know the Bergen County Coaches Tournament, it's one of the toughest tournaments still to this day in this country. He finished 2nd in the district and 3rd in the region, losing in the semifinals of the region to the eventual state champion at his weight. In his senior year, he continued to improve on the football field and earned first team all-league recognition. He closed out his senior wrestling season as follows: 1st in the district, 1st in the region, and 4th in the states. And for the 2nd time in his high school career, he was selected to first team all Bergen County. It's hard enough to make it once, but to make it twice is quite an accomplishment. He compiled a career record of 116-13, which ranks him 3rd on the all-time win list for Lyndhurst High School. He was a 2-time member of Team New Jersey and competed in the national tournament in Fargo, North Dakota. This candidate set himself apart academically as well and truly personified the term scholar athlete. Just a couple of quick highlights, and forgive me for not mentioning all of them. He was a National Honor Society member, was a News 12 New Jersey Scholar Athlete of the Week, and graduated in the top 10 of the senior class. Our candidate graduated from Lehigh University with a degree in computer science and was also a member of their wrestling team. Currently, he resides in Hesper Heights and recently started his own business in computer consulting. He is supported here tonight by many family and friends, but I must recognize his #1 fans, his mother and his father, Barbara and Art. At this time, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to submit the name of David Bautis for induction into Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Thanks, Mike.
I'd like to first start by thanking the Hall of Fame Committee. It's a great honor to be inducted to the Hall of Fame tonight, and I feel very lucky and fortunate to have been selected. I had a lot of great coaching along the way, and it started early. In the 3rd grade, I had one of the best coaches who never wrestled a day in his life. Coach Don helped a lot of the guys in the room tonight to be great wrestlers, and I want to thank you for helping me all those years. I also was fortunate and had a lot of great teammates. I think everyone from my Go Live group is here tonight, and we'll start with the youngest guy, Adam Sika. He was the youngest guy with 3 seniors, and kind of had maybe a rough deal being in that group with the rest of us. Tom McSweeney was the next guy on the list, and he was this big, strong guy, but he kind of moved like a little guy, so he was a lot of fun to work out with. The last guy was Donnie Pritzloff. I wish I could say it was fun working out with you for 2 years, but it really wasn't. I used to count how many times he used to headbutt me in practice. The record for that was 6. Having a great workout partner really makes it easy to be successful, and I had the best. I would like to thank my family for always being there for me. My brother Mark for being an example for not only what to do, but for more importantly, how to do it. I'm very lucky to have the family that I do have. It's sort of like winning the lottery, except it doesn't just pay off once, it pays off every day. Thank you. Our next presenter, Kimberly Hykey.
On behalf of the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Department, I'd like to extend congratulations to each of our honored guests and their families and friends. Our next inductee graduated from LHS in 1999. She was a 3-sport athlete in soccer, basketball, and softball. She earned 4 varsity letters in soccer, 3 in basketball, and 3 in softball. This inductee was a 3-time All-League selection in soccer, first team All-League in basketball, and twice named All-League in softball as a first baseman. She was also named captain in each of the 3 sports during her senior seasons. It's apparent from her recognition in each sport how well-rounded she was as an athlete and a team member. When I asked her about her fondest high school memories, sports-wise, she remembers beating North Arlington in soccer her junior year in the North Jersey Section 1 Group 2 quarterfinals by a score of 3-0, where she had 2 assists. In basketball, she's fond of the memory senior year when they beat Rutherford in states in the North 1 Group 2 quarterfinals. The score was 53-50. She had 9 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 steals. In softball, she remembers beating Beckton in the North 1 Group 1 quarterfinals for their first playoff win since 1992. During her junior year, she had a double and 2 RBIs in that game. Not only was she a standout athlete, but she was also a remarkable student. Some of her awards and accomplishments include top 10% of her senior class, a member of the National Honor Society, and the Presidential Award for Educational Excellence. She was a true model of the complete student athlete. After high school, she went on to pursue her bachelor's and master's degree at Felician College while playing soccer on a scholarship. She came back to Lyndhurst and has taught here for the last 11 years. She's given back to the student athletes as a coach, both in Lyndhurst and at Beckton. At Lyndhurst, she coached girls basketball and softball. At Beckton, she was the varsity girls soccer coach for 8 seasons. And she is currently coaching her son's soccer team. She is now at Memorial Campus teaching 3rd grade. She's currently living in West Orange and is married with twin boys. Here tonight celebrating this honor with her are her parents, Ronald and Cynthia, her husband, Brian, her brothers, Greg and Michael, and her surprise guests next to her at the table over there. And her grandmother. I'm sorry. At this time, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to submit the name of Stacy Tulloch, formerly Settembrino, for induction into the Lyndhurst High School Athletics Hall of Fame.
I would like to thank everyone who came out tonight to support this wonderful event. It is a true honor to be inducted into the Lyndhurst Athletic Hall of Fame. I appreciate the Hall of Fame committee for nominating me for this accolade. I am extremely fortunate to have grown up in such a wonderful family. I want to thank my parents for always making my brothers and myself their main priority and focus. They took the time to teach us the fundamentals of being a good person and always doing the right thing. This naturally translated into being a good teammate, sportsman, and student. It is an honor to share this award with my dad, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2004. My dad has my mom to thank for his induction. In high school, my mom gave my dad an ultimatum of either getting a job or playing a sport to keep him busy after school. Naturally, my dad picked the sport. He tried out and excelled on the baseball field. I followed in his footsteps and played the same position as him, first base. My dad and I were always pretty good with the bats. I remember being in a hitting slump my junior year. To help fix this problem, my dad would take me in the backyard and pitch to me using mini wiffle balls. He would make me hit with a broomstick handle. When I questioned his methods, he would say, "If you can hit with this, there won't be much you don't hit on the softball field. As usual, he was right. Growing up as the only girl and baby of the family, I wanted to be just like my brothers. I would harass them day in and day out to let me play with them. Most of the time, they would say no. On those rare occasions when they did say yes, I played like it was the championship game. I never won once, until today. Today is the first time I get to claim victory against my brothers. I have finally beaten them at something, being inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame first. Thank you. When I stepped onto the field, court or diamond, I may not have been the best player out there. But what I lacked in skill, I made up for with determination, will, and heart. I remember my sophomore year in a basketball game against Palisades Park, which happened to be an extremely close game. I had one job, defense. My primary role was to rebound the ball and give it to our point guard, Kathy Perez, who was guaranteed to score. In this particular game, I had tallied 12 rebounds before fouling out. And when I came off the court, the coach asked, why was I bleeding from my arm? I explained that during one of my rebounds, a player from the other team bit me. He couldn't believe it. He wanted to know why I didn't tell him. I simply said, because I needed to finish my job getting those rebounds so we could win, which we did. My determination continued on the soccer field. I pulled my quad muscle at practice. I wanted to be ready for a try scrimmage we were having in a couple of days. So I decided to wrap an ice pack directly on my leg. I left it wrapped for several hours thinking longer is better. This resulted in me waking up with second-degree burns on my leg. The next day I went to school and had Miss Vasto look at my leg. The only question I had for her was, can I play in the scrimmage? After college, I was fortunate to get to coach a variety of different girls' teams. This gave me great insight of what I put my own coaches through. It is a tiring, thankless job. Coach DeLuca, Coach Kiss, and Mr. Allure, thank you. My latest coaching job was with my own sons, Lucas and Cooper. I had the eye-opening experience, along with my husband, Brian, coaching 4, 5, and 6-year-olds in soccer. This brought a whole new level of patience. My practice had to be full of excitement and wonder. If not, I lost them to the mystery of what the snap would be after the game. As I continue to raise my own children, I can only hope to emulate how my own parents were to my brothers and myself. They were, and continue to be, our biggest fans. I feel very fortunate to have married somebody who believes in me the way my parents do. As a team, I know we too will always be our children's biggest supporters. Thank you.
Okay, our next presenter, Patrick Quartieri.
Good evening. Our next inductee is a member of the class of 2002 and was a dominant athlete during the late 90s, early 2000s. Our inductee earned 9 varsity letters from 1998 to 2002, 2 in soccer, 3 in baseball, and 4 in wrestling. Our inductee also earned many league and county honors in all 3 sports. As a soccer player, our inductee's speed, quickness, and great vision made him an outstanding center midfielder. In his senior year, he was named team captain, led the team with 30 assists, also earning him first team All-League BCSL National and honorable mention All-Bergen County. His intensity and leadership were the foundation for the 2001 Golden Bears team, which earned a state tournament bid. On the wrestling mat, our inductee in his 4 years as a varsity wrestler was a two-time District 15 champion, two-time Region 4 champion, and a two-time New Jersey State qualifier. A three-time first-team All-League BCSL national selection, and a first-team Bergen County selection in his senior year. He was also a member of those great championship teams of the late 90s, early 2000s that we already honored tonight. He finished his exceptional wrestling career with a record 80-21. Now onto the baseball field, which was his true love and where our inductee really made a name for himself. They're having fun over there. Combining his great glove and arm at shortstop and his tremendous bat at the plate, our inductee made the game look easy. He hit .417 with 35 hits and 28 runs scored as a junior. In his senior year, he took it to an even higher level. He batted .523 with 56 hits, which is still a single-season school record. He had 28 runs scored, 25 RBIs, and stole 27 bases. And the amazing stat, he only committed 6 errors in 177 chances. As a team captain his senior year, he led the Golden Bears to a 22-8 record, which included an almost magical upset of the then #1 team in the state, Ramapo High School, in the quarterfinals of the prestigious Bergen County tournament. Golden Bears lost the game 7-6, but we led for most of the game. In that game, he really shined bright. He was 4 for 4 and made highlight reel after highlight reel plays at shortstop. Our inductee compiled a career .440 batting average with 98 hits in his 3 years as a varsity starter, which ranks him in the top 10 in both categories in Lyndhurst High School history. These statistics, as well as his reputation for being a big game player, earned him first-team All-League as a junior and senior, as well as first-team All-Bergen County, first-team All-Area, first-team All-State Group 1, second-team All-State Bergen record, and third-team All-State Star Ledger, all in his senior year. Our inductee is a Rutgers Newark graduate, where he played 4 years of baseball and was inducted into their Athletic Hall of Fame in 2013. He is currently a biology teacher at Palisades Park High School, where he's also the head baseball coach there. He lives in Bud Lake with his wife Christina, and he is the proud son of Joe and Elaine Sika, and also the proud brother of former Lyndhurst alumni Adam and Luke. I was fortunate enough to have been an assistant baseball coach during our inductee's years at Lyndhurst High School. It was a true thing of beauty to watch him play the game the right way, day in and day out. I had a front row seat to one of the best baseball players in Lyndhurst High School history. And that is why, at this time, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present the name David Sika for induction into the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
All right. We'll try to keep this short. Okay, first, I would like to thank the selections committee for this great honor. Originally, when I got the call, I thought, Lyndhurst High School just called me about something. They probably want my money or something like that. But after thinking about it, after Pat called me, I thought, wow, this is something else. This is a great honor. I also want to congratulate the other honorees tonight. I think it's fantastic to be here in a room full of just great excellence on the athletic field and inside the classroom, spanning generations. But I can't take credit for what I've done. The road has pretty much been paved by people who came before me. People that I got to watch as a child, my brothers, a lot of people sitting in this room. They just showed me the way. All I had to do was watch and take after them. The Lyndhurst system just provides you success. The whole town, it's like one big, close-knit community. They all love athletics. They believe in education. The volunteers, they put their time in. The coaches put their time in. And since I just started coaching, I realized you don't get paid nearly as much time as you put in. Growing up, I got to go to all my brother's games. My parents would force me out of the house. I wouldn't say force, I kind of wanted to go. I was kind of a gym rat. I loved being out on the field watching them. And just seeing them have passion for what they did. And I think that pretty much comes from a lot of coaches that they had and a lot of coaches that I had growing up as well. There's various people who I have to thank at this time. And some of them are in the room. And hopefully some of them, their ears are ringing. And some have passed on. But I know that hopefully they are listening right now. In soccer, as a young boy playing, Cosmo McVeigh, the Cedric family, Coach Murata, Coach Saltman, they were fantastic. They showed you the basics. They really loved what they did. They showed you passion. And as a young boy, if you guys know Cosmo McVeigh, I think he walks around with cleats on in his house. The guy loves soccer. He loves it. And he still talks to me every year when I see him down at the feast. In wrestling, Mike DeMarco, Darius Hughes, which wasn't mentioned, Assistant Coach of the Year during our 1998 season, Mr. Pritzlaff, and Coach of the Year at the districts, Coach Weaver. Thank you for your tireless, endless punishment at practice that made us who we are. I can genuinely say that people that walk into the Lyndhurst wrestling room may walk in as boys, but they leave as men. They are the toughest, tightest knit people you will ever meet. There's many people in this room that came through the wrestling program, some that are in the Hall of Fame, some that are not. Settembrinos, Bautises, McSweeney, or the McSweeneys, sorry, Pritzloff. There's a ton of them. It goes on and on. Okay? They are true Lyndhurst athletes that put the time in and work. On the baseball field, since I was little on Little League, or even in T-ball, Coach Acesti, Coach Lorenz, they worked tireless hours with us. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what we were doing on the field. Even my father was there. My father wasn't much of the athlete, but he knew that showing us just the basics to life skills would help us down the road. In the Little League system, we also had Jeff Radigan and Crazy Richie Gress working on the field endlessly. Endless hours of the night, just dragging the field forever. I think it was like their relief. They would just keep doing the field over and over. And I'd say, what are they doing? But it worked. It was great. God rest his soul, Jimmy Radigan ran the Little League system like no one else. We had fun. He always had a smile on his face. And he always knew what to say when he had a rough game. Mr. Salato, who ran the Little League system before him as well, thank you for your time. When I got to Babe Ruth, another man who you can hear from across the room, if he just starts talking, he's not even yelling, Coach Walker. That's Brian Walker. And one of our inductees, Mr. Walker himself, who he's been around the game so long that you have to trust the man when he talks. He says stuff that'll cheer you up. He talks baseball constantly, and he absolutely loves it. Coach Oturi, Coach Radigan, being around you guys has been It's been a blessing to me, okay? I learned watching baseball, I learned from you guys constantly, and I thank you dearly for that. Mrs. D, if you're here, or if you're still here, which I think you are, and you're listening, Anakana Puna to you too. You could hear him from down the block if he was yelling that. When I played Legion Ball, Mr. Sparta, he kept that system running. He was a fantastic man. He kept that league running, and he was so proud no matter what we did on the field. And last but not least, Coach Servideo to my right. He drove us to endless baseball camps all summer. He showed us the game. He was a mentor to my life, and everything he has done won't ever account for what I can say to him. I moved on to play baseball in college, where out of everything, I think I got my best thing, and that's my wife, Christina. I met her after playing. I coached there for 2 years, and by far, all my accomplishments are not as good as landing her as my wife. Last but not least goes to my family, Adam, Luke, my mom and dad. Without your love and support, none of this would have been possible. Getting us to games, being there, caring for us, constantly giving us support. Thank you so much, and I wish there was a way I could repay you other than just saying words thank you. At this time, I know Coach Pritzlaff is probably telling me to get the hook and get out of here. So I'd just like to say one thing that I think Lyndhurst has given me, and it's a tried and proved quote that I live by. If you surround yourself with genuine, loving, good people, you can expect great things to come your way. Thank you for this great honor. Thank you for your time.
I'd next like to call up Lori DeLuca.
Just going to give a couple of minutes just for some of the people that are absent. So I want to give this next inductee her due. Okay, our next athlete is a highly decorated soccer and track star and presently holds the head coaching position in both sports here at Lyndhurst High School. In addition to these two sports, she also took her skills to the hard court, receiving 3 varsity letters, second team All-League honors, and was elected captain in both her junior and senior years. In track, she holds the school record in the 100-meter, 200-meter, and the long jump. She also landed herself the Bergen County Championship in the long jump. She was selected 3 times as a first-team All-League participant, received 4 varsity letters, was a 200-point scorer her senior year, and also was selected captain her junior and senior years. In soccer, she holds the record for most goals in a season and in her career. She was selected for the New Jersey Girls Coaches Award and was supposed to play in the coaches game her senior year, but it was unfortunately snowed out. She was a 3-time All-League selection, and the Herald News named her to the first team All-Area, while her peers elected her class athlete, and the Booster Club awarded her their award in her senior year. I recently found out that some of her most memorable moments in soccer were in her sophomore year when the team went on to beat the formidable league opponent Hasbrook Heights 3-1 at home, and also beat Waldwick, another formidable state opponent, in overtime. For this standout, it was always about her team's success. She ultimately went on to play Division I soccer at Seton Hall University, the first girls soccer player ever to do so, and was selected as a Big East Academic All-Star in her freshman year. This young woman's love for the game goes unmatched. I am proud to say, as head coach of the girls soccer program, her leadership has already brought her 3 league championships. In her tenure as the head girls track coach, her team just won their 3rd league championship this past Tuesday. She has been elected Coach of the Year 3 times in soccer and 1 time in track. In July, she will marry her fiancé, Anthony, who is here tonight to celebrate along with her parents, Jerry and Sharon, her future in-laws, Tom and Sally, her sister Stephanie, brother Jerry, and cousins Lisa, Kirk, Ray, and Angelina. So before I formally introduce this athlete, I just want to say that I am so proud to be here tonight to witness the induction of 2 of the best athletes that I have ever had the privilege to coach into this very prestigious group. I congratulate you both. You have both given me very precious memories that I will hold with me for a lifetime. And so, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to submit the name of Kimberly Hykey for induction into the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
I'm deeply honored for the nomination into my high school athletic hall of fame among so many talented athletes, coaches, contributors, and even better people. This award is a recognition of my athletic achievements, and you can only imagine how significant this is to me. Being an athlete and having the ability to represent my hometown was one of the most rewarding experiences I remember during high school. I couldn't be happier to have the opportunity to grow up in Lyndhurst and represent our town on the playing field. There are some people I would like to thank. First, my parents. They always supported everything I did in life, school, and in sports. I'm not sure if my dad ever missed a game, especially soccer. To this day, he still comes to my games, even though I'm the one that's no longer playing. My mother always did her best to come to my games despite having to work full-time. I'll never forget watching her walk across TP Park down in NA, in her high heels, across the field to make sure that she was sitting before the first whistle blew. My parents instilled the values of being a team player and respecting yourself, your teammates, your coaches, and your opponents. I just want to say thank you for always being there for me and supporting me and giving me the opportunity to succeed. I'm sure I didn't say it enough as a kid, but it's a great thing to look into the stands during the games, timeouts, whatnot, and see your parents there supporting you. I appreciate it. I love you. I'd like to thank my coaches, who all helped my high school experience be truly unforgettable. Without their tutelage, I wouldn't be here before you tonight deserving this honor. First, I'd like to recognize and thank my soccer coach, Coach DeLuca. Soccer was, and still is, my life, especially in high school. And Coach DeLuca provided me with the opportunity to succeed. She taught me a lot about the game, and for that I'm extremely grateful. But Coach also held me accountable and made me understand the importance of hard work and discipline. To this day, I still remember, and I'm sure she probably doesn't, our first inter-squad scrimmage when I was a freshman. I had taken my first shot as a high school player, and I didn't score. And it was August, it was hot, the sun was blazing, and I turned around and I started walking out of the 18, and I just remember hearing Coach DeLuca scream as loud as I could remember a coach ever yell at me before in my life. And she simply said, "Hykey, we don't walk here." And simple enough, yeah, I could still hear it. I got the message loud and clear, and I don't think I ever walked out of the box again. I was a little terrified as a freshman. She also coached me during basketball my freshman year. I never played organized basketball until high school. And boy, did I make that obvious when I stepped out onto the court. I had always played indoor soccer as a kid, and basketball was definitely not my thing. I still struggled to make layups. I could steal the ball pretty good, but when it came to dribbling and running at the same time and hitting the box the right way, I still can't do it, and I always needed somebody to sprint down the court with me so I could pass it off to them because I wasn't going to make the layup. But Coach took over because Mr. Bartlett couldn't do it for health reasons, and I decided to stick it out and stay busy in the wintertime. She was extremely insightful, and I listened and I learned as much as I could because I truly didn't know much. We were undefeated, 13-0 under Coach DeLuca until Coach Cass took over for one game against Garfield. And in his short stint, we went 0-1, and we would finish 13-2 as a freshman team. And that was an experience that taught me a lot. I was uncomfortable for much of the season. I learned a lot about myself as an athlete and what it was like to struggle a lot and persevere. Many sports came easy, but basketball I worked for. By senior year, I was more under control, and I didn't stick out so badly on the court. I also want to thank my other basketball coaches, Coach Shue, Coach Tarowski, and Coach Festola. They dedicated themselves and did everything possible to make us all better. Coach Tarowski made me grow to love basketball and inspired me to better myself. Coach Shue and Coach Festola made my winters pretty entertaining at times, and pretty frustrating at times. I'll never forget Coach Festola telling us, after making us run too many suicides to count, that we may not be the best skilled team in Bergen County, but we will be the best conditioned. And I'll never forget that. And this is part of the reason why my teams will always be well conditioned. He made me realize the importance of being fit, and that there is no skill to work hard and be in shape. It was about effort, and no one should ever outwork you. And we learned that the hard way. But I wouldn't change a thing about that season. We worked hard every day, and we truly got better every day. I'll never forget the speeches Coach Shue would give us about how we represent Lyndhurst and the type of kids that we were. And he truly was able to fire us up and get us motivated. He made us proud to be from Lyndhurst and represent our town the way it deserved to be. And coaching with him now, I still get to hear some of those lovely speeches. I'd like to thank my track coaches, Coach Mulaney and Coach Vuno. Also during my senior year, Coach Shue and Coach Peretti. While some of my best game memories may be from soccer, some of my best memories, team-wise, are definitely from track. Track is unlike any other sport, and my coaches made my experience incredible. They taught me so much, and I appreciate the knowledge they lent me. Going overnight to the Penn Relays in Egg Harbor was an exciting thing for my teammates and me, and I'll always remember the good times we shared there. I'd also like to thank my former teammates because without them, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish the feats that I did. They were all a major part of any success that I had on the soccer field, the basketball court, and on the track. I couldn't have asked for better teammates. Thank you to my family and friends who came out to support me tonight. I appreciate you being here and sharing this special honor with me. Finally, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for considering me for this great honor. I feel blessed and lucky to be able to call myself a proud member of the Lyndhurst High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
See you again.
I know it's been a long evening, but our last honored guest needs to be recognized for all he's done and continues to do. So please bear with us a little longer. Our next inductee grew up and was educated in the Jersey City public school system. He attended Dickinson High School, where he was a standout second baseman. This is where his love of the game of baseball further developed. Upon graduating high school, he attended Stevens University for a short period of time before entering the workforce. He took on several jobs as a draftsman, machinist, machine tool purchasing agent, and finally a job he continues to work at and enjoy, checking customer purchases at Costco's. During this time, our inductee married and fathered 3 boys, Tom, John, and Buck Brian. Today, his family has grown to include 11 grandchildren and 2 great-granddaughters. While working and raising a family, he began volunteering his time coaching Lyndhurst's SB Phoenix Little League team for 11 years, and then becoming the head coach of the Lyndhurst Elks Babe Ruth team, in addition holding several administrative positions for both leagues. He held these volunteer jobs for 26 additional years. Somewhere during the next phase of his life, besides his love for the game of baseball, our inductee developed an unselfish love and devotion and became truly compassionate over pigeons. That's right, pigeons. He became a member and an officer of the Lyndhurst Pigeon Club. Lyndhurst does have a pigeon club. Just ask Joe Cassanetti about a great pigeon story the 3 of us share. I was extremely fortunate as the head baseball coach of Lyndhurst High School for 29 years to have our inductee once again volunteer his baseball coaching expertise with my program during my last 14 years of coaching. He was an integral part in all the successes we had over the years, and he still continues volunteering for our new head baseball coach, Patrick Materi. In all, our inductee has been volunteering his time with the youth of Lyndhurst for over 50 years. He is a man who deeply loves the youth of our township. He is intelligent, courageous, and is considered a great man for his fairness, encouragement, and affectionate interest in making our community a better place to live. At this time, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to submit the name of Jim Walter for induction into the Lyndhurst High School.
Okay, I'm the last one, guys, so we're getting ready to go. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee and all the recipients that received the award tonight. The Hall of Fame is really a great honor, and I really appreciate it. My family, my friends, my son Thomas, of course, he's here in spirit with me. And last week I lost my mother-in-law, Milton, 100 years old. She's supposed to be here tonight with us. 100 years old. So. I'd also like to thank the Board of Education. I'd like to thank the Board of Education for allowing me to be a volunteer coach with the program. I stopped in Butchie's office one day and we talked, and before I know it, I was a volunteer coach, so many, many years ago. So I love the game of baseball. I've been doing it many years. Butchie gave me my lowdown on my Phoenix Little League team, my Elks Bay Root team. As far as the Elks Bay Root team, again, Anacanapuna, young Detellis. He was a great player and also a great coach. He was president of the Bay Root League also. I coached many years with Servideo, also did some football and basketball in the program with Jeff and Joe Castanetti. The rest is history for me. We had many trips to Florida, many trips to Baltimore, Cooperstown. We won 2 state championships along the way. 2008, which my grandson Brian was here tonight, played on that team in 2008. We also won a state championship in 2013. And that year we won 18 games in a row. And I think it's still a school record. Or tied to school record. Tied to school record. I made many friends along the way. I mean, it's people come up to me, I don't know who they are, they say hello to me. And well, I coached with you. 40 or 50 years is a long time back. See a few of my ex-players tonight, I didn't recognize them and they recognized me, so I feel happy about that. I also enjoyed taking the photos at some of the games, the Mother's Day games and all the trips, and I did a lot of photos with the kids, and I think they all enjoyed that. I'm very happy that Coach Ortieri's allowed me to coach again this year with them. It's really great. We're off to a pretty good start. We started out a little slow, but we're coming along nicely. We won 9 in a row, and we got a 12-6 record, and hoping to do better for the rest of the season. I'm very happy. There was a sign in the locker room that reads, how do you want to be remembered? So as a coach, I want to be remembered as a coach that had taught good attitude and communication, discipline, hustle, desire. I'm the old school, and I want all of my players to really have fun. I hope they enjoy themselves with their Little League, Bay Root, and high school experiences across the league. My older coaches also, hopefully I built some character. Former players, coaches, and moms, and all the other ones that came along the way. If anybody played for me or any team moms are here, any of my ex-players, please stand up. I gotta have some players here, guys. I know my sons are here. My grandsons are here. Hall of Fame is over there, too. It's just which is a good thing. So I want to thank you all for being a special part of my life. Many, many happy years. We're all Golden Bears, and I hope I can keep on coaching. And thanks again for this great honor. Thank you so much.
now, so just hang out for just 2 more minutes.